My father used to take me on Mivtzoyim when I was a very young boy, from the age of 5 or 6. And my father was very into Mivtza Tefillin, especially Sukkot, Shalom Vanesrig, and Purim, to give out Vishlach Manas, and so on. Even traveling with my father on planes and so on, my father always was into Mivtza Tefillin, so I got a Chossid in Mivtzoyim from a very young age. At a certain point, it diminished a little when I was maybe 20 years old, 21. But then I had a story where I went to a bar mitzvah in Colorado, and I happened to put on tefillin with some people on the way to the bar mitzvah in Colorado. And bar mitzvah was mostly non-religious people, and I ended up putting on tefillin with people a whole weekend, the whole Friday, a whole Sunday, and the whole Shabbos. We verbringed about tefillin. When I got to the airport, there was a bunch of people traveling with me. I ended up returning the car, and I missed my flight by 1 minute, and I was stuck in the Denver airport for 12 hours. And the second I turned around from the gate, I see this Persian Jewish guy, 40 years old, that was at the bar mitzvah all weekend, and he never put on tefillin in his life. And so I put on tefillin with him, of course, and realized that that's why I had to miss my flight. And we got him a pair of tefillin, and he got an aliyah, and so on and so forth. And the next Shabbos, my 1-year-old daughter got out of the house somehow, and she just started walking, and she walked to the middle of the street. And car slammed on the brakes, put the car in park, and was looking where this kid came from. There was no one around. There was no one outside. It was just this 1-year-old kid. After that story, I decided that I would recommit to putting on tefillin anytime, anywhere. I have people that I text every day to put on tefillin. I'm constantly talking about tefillin with people when I meet them on Shabbos or whatever it is. I go to a wedding, I have tefillin. I spend the whole an hour till Shkia. I'm not doing anything but putting on tefillin with people. You wouldn't believe the amount of people that I've met in my life that started with tefillin and have become totally frum, or from one time putting on tefillin, put on tefillin every single day now. It's a very, very powerful tool, and it's not by coincidence that the Rebbe had a special kach in Mivtza Tefillin. To me, there's no greater pleasure than putting on tefillin with another Jew, especially on the street or in a grocery store or in a gas station or in a plane. It's an aha moment when you're ready to do that in the middle of nowhere, when you're ready to stop in the middle of a big supermarket, and you're ready to stop in Costco and put on tefillin with people, or on especially on a place like a plane or in an airport. That moment gives you that feeling that I'm connected. When you're doing something that's a little out of the norm, when you're doing something that's maybe causes you a little uncomfortability, and you have that moment that you're proud to stand up and be identified as a shliach of the Rebbe. You're doing something that no one else does. No one else gets up on a plane and starts putting on tefillin with people. That's only someone that's following the Rebbe's directives. Because, nowadays you have a lot of other people that are putting on tefillin with people, not necessarily Lubavitchers. I don't know if you've been around, but in Israel especially, you see a lot of people putting on tefillin with people. But they don't do it on planes. It's only if you're connected to the Rebbe do you take it to that level.
Beschas me kommt zu gehen bechol asar v'asar in jeder Stadt und in jeder Ort darf man sich zugucken. In was für ein Leben man darf mit sie lernen, sie sollen das verstehen und sie sollen das zunehmen und das soll werden sie erleben. Hier chayenu velech yamenu, ist das gesagt geworden auf jeder Rieden, mina kotze ela kotze. In jeder Ort, was zu zusammen der Gang in der Idee, das ist ein Ort, was dort gefunden sich hin. Und noch demut ist nicht, darf von sie monnen. Als sie sollen gleich, wie sie treffen sich mit dem werden, wie ist oder wie der Pläne ben Pläne ist, nur darf sein Lefi in Jonne. darf sein, mikarev sein, Liteiler, in dem Weg, wo das kann sie nehmen, was hat demut wird Matzlier sein, Chizekatere, Vajadus Basek. Und danach darf man sich nicht begnügen mit dem Ort, wo gefindt sich. Nicht begnügen mit dem Ort, wo der Ort ist, leid sein Geschmack und leid sein Gewinnheit.
Even till today, even though, I've done it a million times, it's still uncomfortable to ask someone to put on tefillin on a plane and it has become more uncomfortable with COVID. Especially now, people are wearing masks. You can't even tell if they're Jewish or not. It's very hard. The Rebbe said a sikha about tefillin and amal. The Rebbe asked a question. In every mitzvah, there has to be amal. Where's the amal in putting on tefillin? It takes 2 minutes to put on tefillin. There's no amal whatsoever. So how do you have the amal in putting on tefillin? You have amal Torah and so on and so forth. Where's the amal in putting on tefillin? And the Rebbe explains that the amal is asking other people to put on tefillin. So it is uncomfortable, but that's what the Rebbe wants. And you get over the uncomfortability once you know that you're doing what the Rebbe wants. You just have to dig a little deeper. And once you do it, you see the results, because I've almost never been on a plane where I didn't get at least one Jew to put on tefillin. And sometimes people ask me, people call me, they see someone else is putting on tefillin, and they call me over, says, "Can I put on tefillin, please?" Also, I think the Rebbe's bigger picture was that Lubavitchers should talk to every Jew they meet and communicate and reach out to every Jew, whether it's tefillin or not tefillin. Just having a conversation with another Jew, just even saying hello, could already have a powerful effect. In life we're so mission oriented that we sometimes forget to just simply engage other people that are around us. We say, we're busy. We have to go to the Rambam. We have to go catch a minyan. We have to go to the mikveh. But it's really what the Rebbe wanted. I think with Mitzrayim was more than just that putting on tefillin that one time. I think the Rebbe wanted us to engage every Jew we meet, and even more than that, I think the Rebbe wanted us to engage every human being. The Rebbe wanted us to talk about Sheva Mitzvahs with every non-Jew. So you can't say, just because this guy says I'm not Jewish, that you end the conversation. You could continue the conversation. You can talk to that person about Sheva Mitzvahs, and so on and so forth. It's very uncomfortable sometimes when someone says no, especially if they were, let's say, someone who used to be from. If you understand the Rebbe's ask, if you understand why the Rebbe wanted Bochurim or Lubavitchers to ask people to put on tefillin. It's not like the Rebbe only wanted the Jew that said yes. Even the Jew that said no, the Rebbe wanted you to approach him and to ask him to put on tefillin. And the fact that you approached him will definitely have its effect. I've seen so many times where initially there's a no, and if you persist, you could get them to say yes. You have to sometimes come, dig deep down and come up with some interesting excuse or some interesting ask. You have to find the right moment. If that is your goal, you will find the moment to do it. And eventually, you have to get that Jew to put on film, because that's what the Rebbe wants, and that's what Hashem wants. And that's the attitude you have to have. You have to have the attitude that there's no such a thing that there's a Jew that you shouldn't ask to put on film. Every single Jew, even if it's your father's biggest balabas, and he refuses to put on film, and he gets upset when you ask him to put on film, you have to find a way to put on film with that Jew.
Kurze Wörter ist, als mit Tornit mit Watter sein und mit kann sich nicht absagen, Chas v'Sholem, von keinen Nieden wieder, soll sich nicht finden. Wollen ist in klar von der Jacha, welchen sie der Zivoi, wer hafter komech. Wie bald damit kann sich nicht absagen und mit sich nicht absagen, muss sich mit dem beschäftigen. Und das darf sein, wie in Jone, sagen attain, was sie hat, Tov, Reish und Gimel Mitzvahs, 613 Mitzvahs. Wo das ist eigentlich zu jeder Rieden, und jeder Ried kann das Mekayim sein, und so wird das Mekayim sein.
For a Bochur who wants to give a matana to the Rebbe for Yidal Finis in 120 years, I think it's without question that there has to be a doubling of the effort in Mivtzayim, and especially in Mivtza Tefillin, which is natural for a Bochur. The Rebbe had in mind the Bochur first and foremost, and you see that with the tanks. They went out and how the Rebbe came every morning at 7:70 and gave chizuk to the Bochur going on Mitzrayim, and you see it clearly. But so it's without question that every single Bochur must commit to a greater koch and a greater Geshmack in putting on tefillin. And it has to be something that's not just, okay, on Friday I go on Mivtza for my 2 hours. It has to be something that's in your blood, that you carry. A Bochur carries his tefillin wherever he goes. It should never be a Bochur that goes to a store or a gas station without a pair of tefillin. There should never be a moment in a Bochur's life that he doesn't have tefillin with him, whether he's on vacation, whether he's whatever the Bochur is doing. You could have a million other shlichus that you're involved in, but you always have to carry that tefillin with you, and you always have to look for another Jew to put on tefillin. And I think for if a Bochur is seriously wants to be connected to the Rebbe, there's no other option. I don't think a Bochur could claim that I am the cushion to the Rebbe, but I'm not ready to carry tefillin with me, and I'm not ready to ask a Jew to put on tefillin because I'm busy learning Rambam, or I'm busy learning the Rebbe's Mamorim. You may have to start with Kabbalah Soul. So you start by doing it once or twice or 3 times. You got another Jew to connect with God, to connect with the will of God, to connect with the Rebbe, and when you say something like "I got a tefillin," it diminishes what actually happens, and I think this is the bottom line. The bottom line is that if you truly believe that when you put on tefillin with another Jew, that you are accomplishing it's something major that's being accomplished. It's not just, okay, I got another tefillin and it's just a score sheet and it's a contest to see how many tefillin you can get or how many kakaftas you get. Yeah, so then it could be like a childish game, even though it's good, it's all beautiful. That if that's what drives you and it's all about the numbers and the pictures, more power to you. But I think it's much deeper than that. I think if a Bochur really understands what is accomplished when they put on tefillin with another Jew, I think it's a lot more meaningful, and I think that is the true key to the Geshmack and the koch and putting on tefillin. When you understand why the Rebbe came out with the Mivtza Tefillin, when you learn the sichos, then you automatically will have a koch and a Geshmack and putting on tefillin with another Jew.
Und was da steht, dass die Jahre ist, dass wie bald das ist, lechulit in Leisecher, mehr gefinzer Biolo shel Teira, und Biolo shel Mitzvah, ist in der Linie von Teira Mitzvah, sein Nechet alle Jiden, Arevin, Zeh, sie können sein, der Limit der Teira Bishleimus und der Kima Mitzvah Bishleimus, בשעה החלק פונם וסכל ישראל כולם יחד איזה חכים השלמה איזה דר חלק להיסטר ניתה ראשונים בלימוד התורה וניתה ראשונים בקיים המצווה ונותן עניין מונטנים באון זה בפילה בהרגש הוטמן das nicht ist der meiste Bepeil soll das erreicht und das soll sein verbunden mit allen Jiden, wo sie sollen sich nicht gefunden. Und das Ayini, was wir können ablegen auf übermorgen und auf morgen und auf Herres, 2 später,